Get ready for a powerhouse of inspiration. Principal Baruti Kafele. A highly regarded educator and a transformational leader, Principal Kafele has spent over 20 years in New Jersey's urban schools, making a lasting impact as both a master teacher and a turnaround principal. Under his leadership, the mighty Newark Tech transformed from a low-performing school to one of America's best, as recognized by U.S. News and World Report 3 times. A recipient of the prestigious Milken Educator Award, Principal Kafele is one of the most sought-after voices in school leadership and equity. He's delivered over 3,000 keynotes, workshops, and seminars across the nation, authored 13 books, including 7 ASCD bestsellers, and continues to empower leaders through his live-streamed AP and New Principals Academy. Please join us in welcoming the extraordinary Principal Baruti Kafele.
And we are live. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to week 267 of the AP and New Principals Academy. Let me see who we got checking in this morning. Right at the top, we got Mona Obamolak checking in from Orlando, Florida. We got Constance Sherrod down in Pearl, Mississippi. We got the good Dr. Rachel Edowekit checking in from Maryland. I'm going to share what you shared in a little while, Doc. So hold off, but I appreciate that. But we're going to get into that a little something. We got Michael Benton in Cincinnati, Ohio. Arlette Johnson out in Connecticut. We got Yolanda McKinney down in Texas. I appreciate that as well. We're going to talk about it. We got Dr. Rella Hicks in Augusta, Georgia. Robin Snowden is in the building. Looking forward to seeing you too down in Raleigh on July 15 and 16 at the School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele. I appreciate that, Robin. We got Rodney Richardson, Hampton, Virginia. Nadira Coley, Newark, Brick City, New Jersey. Takesha High, Virginia. Grace Castaneda, where we at? She's in Texas somewhere, right? We got Elisa Rivera is checking in. Good to see you. Lysandra Brackens is in the building, North Carolina. We got 4AZ checking in. She said morning fan, checking in from the most magical Phoenix, Arizona, right? Magical place on earth. And then she said Kafele for Knicks head coach. Yeah, I might need to take over, y'all. They need a coach. They fired the coach, and maybe I'm the person for the job. We got Marsha Poe in San Diego. AP Patrick Lawrence, Connecticut. Claude C is in Orlando. Claude, I wish my books were on audio. I've spoken with the publisher several times about that, but they just haven't gotten there yet where they're putting books on audio for any of us authors. But I'm gonna keep pushing because I've received, my voice changed as it is now. Really, probably got a little baser, but it changed in 7th grade, and I've been receiving compliments on my voice since I was in the 7th grade. So what a good thing, I think, an asset for me to have my voice on my books as opposed to just reading, because then you could feel my energy as you read, so I'm gonna keep pushing. Charlena Hottie is in Norfolk, Virginia. Good to see you. Stacy Joy, LA. I saw when you wrote on that post, man, you're looking for the 4th principal in 3 years. Whew. That's rough. That's rough on the whole school community. David Bell, Benton Harbor, Michigan. Chancellor Davis, Las Vegas, Nevada. Kimberly George, Waukegan, Illinois. Tashika Truesdale, Atlanta, Georgia. Dr. Sheikah Houston, Chester, South Carolina. And since I have her here, I should say Super Saturday lineup, man. 10 o'clock, Sean Hurt. He just brings that fire every Saturday morning, 10 o'clock. Facebook Live. He's on other platforms, LinkedIn. I'm just going to do the Facebook Lives here to keep it short and simple. So that's him at 10 o'clock Eastern, and then followed by Dr. Sheikah Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor with Create and Educate. And once again, the two of them, they just bring it, man. Then I come on and I try to bring it, with the platform, and then so that's Super Saturday, and then we round it out on Sundays, and therefore we changed the name, and it's the Fantastic Four, right? So with the four of us, Fantastic Four, with the three of us on Saturday, Super Saturday, and that's Josh Tovar and Dr. Marty Moreno, and they bring the fire and the energy, man. I mean, you talk about four platforms, we're all connected, we're all friends, we're colleagues, friends, buddies, all that kind of thing. And we're all different in terms of what we present. And I just encourage all of you, I'm spending this much time on it to encourage everybody out there to watch all four, right? Watch all four, share them, like them, all that kind of stuff, man. Let me go before I get started. Justin McMillan is in the building out in Colorado, by way of Cancun right now. Right, good stuff. September, Devon Vance Daniels, I see you. Good to see you. Melissa Jones Chunu out there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Edwin Garcia is in Jersey. To say, Edwin, every Saturday when I see you, your name, I write it down, and I say I'm gonna reach out to you, and then I typically toss my notes in the garbage, and then I forget until the next Saturday. Do me a favor, Edwin, send me an email so that I can remember to put you on my roster, my schedule, because I want the folks to hear from you. I want to hear from you too. We got the boss educator, LaQuanta Nelson, Dr. LaQuanta Nelson, doing big things, man. When Dr. Houston, boss educator, mentioned your I guess it was a conference. I went to your page. You probably saw I was like, right? Just and watching the videos and just seeing all, because, I'm running all the time. So I miss a lot of things that's happening in social media. The things that pop up, I see them, that's all algorithms. But other things that I need to see, I miss. So I was glad that Dr. Houston said what she said, which gave me an opportunity to get caught up on what you're doing. So you're doing great work. Everybody out there, go to Boss Educator on Facebook and see what she's doing, or go to Boss Educator on Instagram and see what she's doing. I guess YouTube as well. And check out what Dr. LaQuanta Nelson is doing in these education streets, these women empowerment streets, these leadership streets. She's doing a lot of things here. Kenyell Session, OKC. I heard Sean, he talked to you mentioned, I guess, on Sean's page that it was a little cloudy in OKC. That's that cloud because y'all gave up that loss. And I know Sean said the same thing, and I'm just gonna mirror what Sean said. You had the game won, right? So it's a cloud all over OKC. Right? Kenyell probably saying, yeah, well, what's that say for the Knicks? I guess you got a cloud all over the state of New York, right? So yeah, let's go. I'm getting ready to end it up, y'all. Erica Joy Brunson, I see you out in Skokie, Illinois. Dr. Roz Gaskin, I see you, and I see you got some stuff going on too, man. I got to get on y'all pages, man. She's out in the DMV. I think I'm gonna close it there. I see you, Dr. Tammy Taylor. I see you, James Wilburn. I see you, Principal Dr. McKeever Jeter. Let me close it out, y'all. I got a lot to talk about today. I see you, Jacqueline Harriet. I got to make sure I say that. So we'll leave it at Nova Scotia. Hey, y'all. Good morning. Greetings. Welcome to week 267 of the AP and New Principles Academy. Man, I'm glad you're here. But let me ask you the question. How y'all doing today? How you feeling? I'm feeling good, man. Despite the world, we ain't gonna get into it, man. Y'all know that the world was wacky this week, right? The American world. We ain't even going there. Listen, how you feeling? We're gonna leave that right there. How you feeling? I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. I hope you're feeling good. And if you're not, I understand. But I'm also every week going to encourage you, do what needs to be done to get you where you need to be. Because you, as Sean Hurt talked about in his session, you need to go back and watch him, that 10 o'clock session. You can watch the video anytime. He was talking about the things you need to be doing over the summer. So he was imploring you to understand that, take the little vacation, but understand that these are critical moments now, right? These are critical moments. Those of you, some of y'all like, we ain't even finished yet. We Northeast. I know, no, not y'all. Y'all still in school. Y'all still got like a month to go, right? I'm talking about other folks who have been off for a few days, a few weeks. You got a lot to do. Start planning. I'm tempted to start just reiterating what Sean said, but I'm not. Go back to his page and watch what he said. That's what's important. So, but the bottom line was get yourself where you need to be, right? So I'm in a good place right now, but I want to tell you why. Uh, it's number one, my son, he's sitting right here. He's 35, man. Today's his birthday. Give him a happy birthday, y'all. He'll see it. He turned 35 today at midnight. And I'm looking at myself saying, I have a 35-year-old son. Wow, that means I'm getting old, right? But that's all right. That means I got a lot of wisdom, man. Yeah, but so shout out to Baruti Lebre Kafele, 35. Secondly, man, I'm just in terms of how I feel, and shout out to Middletown, Connecticut, particularly Middletown High School, under the leadership of Dr. Dawn Brooks. I do a lot of work with her and her team in a consulting capacity. So I spent the day there, and just a good day. Shout out to them. Thursday. Yesterday, man, Educators of Color Leadership Symposium 2025, the inaugural conference that they put on. Again, Educators of Color Leadership Symposium. See, we're leaders. We're of various different races, all races, perhaps, cultures, ethnicities, etc. But sometimes it's, I'm gonna be upfront with you. Sometimes there's a need for educators of color, and I can put that right here, but I can narrow it a little bit more, because this is what it was predominantly: Black educators. Let's go even narrower: Black educational leaders. There are times, these affinity groups matter, and there's times that we need to come together and talk about things that we can't in the broader conference, broader conversation it's all inclusive. Sometimes we got some in-house stuff we need to talk about, right? So that was what yesterday was, and I was the closing keynoter. And I had told the organizers, they asked me my fee, and I told them, I don't want to be paid. Now, I don't want folks that pay me to, like, oh, wait a minute, we paid you good money. No, here's why. I didn't give a speech. That's why. I didn't give a speech. They may have interpreted it as a speech, maybe someone in the audience. This was New Jersey Black educators, Black leaders, and some teachers. I said, I just want to talk to you. No speech. I wasn't on the stage. I was on the floor with them. I said, I just want to talk to you for an hour about some things that I feel are pertinent as Black school leaders, New Jersey Black school leaders, right? That's necessary. And I'm not going to apologize for advocating those kinds of conversations. They're necessary conversations, because the experience of being in a school as a Black educator is not the same experience of being in a school, for example, as a white educator, right? It's not only is it a different experience, it's a different world. And then if I add in being a Black woman leader, that's not the same as being a white male leader, right? Or even a white woman leader. That's a different experience. So there's a need to come together and talk about those experiences. I don't need to be in the experience with Black women leaders. I don't need to be in the room with Black women leaders, but I know that in that room that they're in, they're able to share some information with one another that they need to hear from one another, because it's easy to think that the stuff that you're challenged by is just happening to you, not realizing that it's happening to a whole lot of other people, right? So those affinity spaces are necessary. And man, let me tell you, yesterday, that was not a speech. They could tell you, they know. I talk from the heart, baby. Just talk from the heart about, just having that opportunity, that privilege to talk to a room full of New Jersey leaders about things that I'm thinking, things that are on my mind, things that keep me awake at night, things that keep my mind preoccupied. That's what that was about. To the organizers out there that brought me in, I appreciate y'all. I know y'all still trying to pay me because y'all asking me to send a W-9 and all that stuff, man. Man, I'm there to talk to the fam yesterday. That's what that was. It wasn't no speech. It wasn't no keynote. It was just the brother talking to the folks. Right? Let's go. One more shout out, y'all. Shout out to District Administration Magazine. Some of y'all may have seen my post earlier this week. District Administration Magazine saw it fit to include me in the list of their top 100 educational leadership influencers. Wow. That's huge, y'all. the top 100 educational leadership. They say education, but it's a leadership organization. So I'm throwing in the word leadership, educational leadership, top 100 influencers across America. Right. I mean, there's a lot of leaders in America, a lot of consultants in America, and they saw fit to add me to that list. But you know something? I'm not sharing that with you just to talk about me, because it's two fam on this academy who are also on the list. First, Dr. Rachel Edowekit is on that list. She's fam. She's been on this platform twice. She'll be with us in August for the third time. She's on the list. But another family member is Dr. Tracy Anderson Swilly, who's the NASSP Principal of the Year. Well, she's been on here as a guest, but she's also fam of the platform. So when I saw the two of them, Dr. Rachel Edowekit and Dr. Tracy Anderson Swilly, while I was because I was actually looking for me, right? Because I got an email that I was on the list, but I was in disbelief, believe it or not. I was like, I just couldn't believe it. Just, don't beat up on me in the comments. I just couldn't believe that I was on that list. I'm like, me? Right? So I go to the website, like searching, like, is there proof? Is this a scam email I got? Is there a page where my picture is there? And then I found it. I said, okay, it's real, it's legit. But in looking for me, I saw Dr. Anderson Swilly, and I saw Dr. Edo Eke. Right. So see, I knew somebody was going to get on me. Kimberly May said, why not you? I know Kimberly. Right. So, so shout out to district administration for recognizing not just me, but the three of us and so many others on there that I know. My guy Todd Whitaker's on the list. And so many, I don't want to name drop because I knew a lot of people on the list. Right. Oh, another family member was Dr. LaTanya Goffney. She's superintendent of Aldine schools in Houston, Texas, but she's also fam of the platform, and she was a guest on here about 2 months ago. So she's on the list as well, right? Good stuff. All right, y'all. Let me finish these announcements. July 15 and 16, the School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele, man. We're almost there now, right? July 15 and 16, we're almost there, just a little over a month. So want to see you in the building. So go to principalkafele.com, scroll down, and you will see the section on the website. Click that link, and then go on in there and register. And we're gonna have 2 solid days of instructional leadership. It's gonna be a blast. I wanna see you in the building. And if you are in fact coming, if you're registered, then you get a copy of that, right? So you get what is my value instructionally to the teachers I supervise. That comes along with your registration, right? If you already have the book, then give it to somebody else, right? That could benefit from it. And I might add, you may have seen some posts I've been writing this week. Man, these school districts are using this book big time. I didn't even know that. It's like starting to come out over, like, now that we're into these summer months, all these leadership teams, man, doing these summer conferences, and this is the book that they're focusing on. I told you it's the most important book I've ever written in my mind for leaders. And I feel honored, blessed, and grateful that so many school districts are using this book to elevate their instructional leadership game in their schools, right? So if you don't have a copy, I'll ask you the question, what are you waiting for? Get the book, man. Read the book, but don't put it on the shelf when you finish. Like, don't make it like this, right? Keep the book close to the vest because it's a reference. It's not just a read, it's a reference, right? So that's that. Where am I at in my notes? I'm ready to give you my monologue, man. Monologue time. That's where I am. And then I got a serious conversation with y'all today. I'm going solo. Would you do me a favor, y'all? Hit the share button, hit the retweet button, repost button, tag somebody, call somebody, text somebody, but hit up them Facebook groups, those Facebook leadership groups. Hit them up as well. Let them know we are here. We are live. My monologue title: why would I want to teach in your school? Let that question marinate for a second. Why would I want to teach in your school? Let's talk about it. This could have actually been the whole topic today, but I'm gonna keep it short, as short as I can. I'm solo, so regardless of how long the monologue is, I'm still the only guest, right? So here we go. Why would I want to teach in your school? This is the season. Now, I mean, we're in it now because it's really getting to be crunch time, particularly for the schools that dismiss in May. But recruiting doesn't start. It should not start in the summer. Recruiting shouldn't end. Recruiting is ongoing. So if you're at the start of the school year, it's like September, October, November, you should still be in a recruiting mindset, because you don't know who's leaving, or you don't know who you may ask to leave, right? So you've got to be in that recruitment mindset throughout the course of the year, 12 months. But in having that recruiting mindset, I want to remind you that although you're recruiting, the folks out there understand that there's a shortage. They're recruiting too. They don't have to settle for you because they have options. There are so many other opportunities beside yours. So therefore, there's got to be a marriage. It's got to be mutual. It's not just you holding the carrot. Y'all come on and we'll figure out who gets it. Nah, they don't need you anymore. Not in these days and times, right? So let's look at it. Let's go back to the question first. Why would I want to teach in your school? I want to draw your attention. Let's look at a restaurant, right? When you and I go to a restaurant, we all have different outlooks on the restaurant experience, but let me speak for me. Here's what I'm looking for. 3 things: the food, the service, the culture, right? One could say the environment, right? So the food, the service, the overall culture. Those 3 things will dictate if I'm coming back. Because see, I can be in a restaurant where the food is superior, but the service is lousy. And because the service is so lousy, chances are I'm not coming back. Or I could be in a place where the food is excellent, but the environment is not a place for me. I don't belong there, right? So therefore, as good as the food was, I'm not returning. I'm done with that, right? Or the food could be bad, but the service was good, the environment was good, then maybe in my mind, it was just a bad day. Maybe I need to give them a second chance, right? But the bottom line is those 3 elements have to be in place in order for me to make the decision that I want to return, right? Because if not, they've lost my business. And if there are other people out in the world who see the place the way I see it, then they've lost a ton of business. We're not coming back. Right? Here's another example. I had this one on my mind because I can't wait till my next vacation, which won't be until my birthday in October. But it's on my mind. Resorts. I'm not going back to every resort I've been to. Like I went to this resort in Cancun. I won't name the place because that wouldn't be right. But I can tell you this: I'm never going back. I'm never going back. The AC broke. You know how hot it is in Cancun? The AC broke for 3 days. I might as well have been in a sauna, right? So even though it was one of them things, I'm still not going. I'm not risking it. Not with all them places they got out there, resorts. So they lost me. Hotels, I'm distinguishing hotel from resort because when I'm on the road speaking, I'm in these hotels. I'm not in them downtown hotels. That's them big luxury hotels. That's when I do a conference in a hotel. I'm talking about them regular hotels on the highway. That's where I live. I see you, Greg Riley, and good to see you. I live in those hotels on them highways, right? And see, I'm not going to get into all that because the specificity, because I got a lot of stuff to talk about today. But I'm saying they got one time to mess up. Let me just give you this one example. Sometimes, like with the mattress in the headboard, whatever you call that thing, right? I ain't really versed in hotel talk, right? So or bed talk. So sometimes, like, you could see behind the mattress, and let's say I see like a balled up bag of potato, like a ball, the remains, just an empty bag of balled up of potato chips, like, or a gum wrapper, right? Or any kind of trash that was behind the mattress. Now, I'm not sleeping back there, but guess what? I ain't never coming back there. And how do I know that? Because I've experienced it. Not only did I not go back there, I didn't go back to the brand, right? The entire chain. I wrote them off and I never went back. This was over 10 years ago. In fact, I can tell you where it was, but I ain't gonna tell you the brand. It was in Virginia Beach, right? And it was these gum wrappers behind the mattress on the floor. I said, that's it. I'm out. I went down and told the manager, give me a refund. I'm not even staying here tonight. Somebody might say, Kafele, diva. No, I ain't diva. I'm paying good money to stay in there. I want immaculate cleanliness. So now I'm done. Right? So so much more you can say about the hotel, but that ain't what this is. Other service industries, same thing. You expect for them to be phenomenal, extraordinary, amazing. Airlines. Woo. Let me tell you something. When I pull down that tray, that bad boy better be clean. Or I might switch airlines. That's how I roll. Right? That flight attendant. You got to treat me with respect. Or I may not come back. There's other airlines out here. Right? So I'm saying to you, I'm saying all of that to say that these places that we frequent have to be superior because we're paying money. If they were free, that's another story. We're paying money. Rental car companies. That's another one, y'all. What I kid you not. Listen, I picked up a car on Thursday night, Wednesday night. It was a little piece of paper on the mat. I am not playing. I kid you not. A little piece of paper like this big on the mat. I love the car was, as the young people say, the car was dope, right? But I said, Now I could have picked it up and thrown it away. Nah, we ain't getting that car. That's how I get down, y'all. Stuff got to be superior, man. You know how much it costs to rent a car for a day? It ranges anywhere from $80 to $200, depending on how much they want to charge that day, right? So I went to it. I got it. I didn't leave the company because that's the company that I use, but I got a different car, right? And then stores and shops. So where am I going with this? Where am I going? Here's where I'm going. You and your school. Hey, leader, let me get up on this camera, baby. You and I'm saying you, the leader, and your school. Why would I want to teach in your school? Here, y'all, get this out, y'all. Get this. Let me go to the leader first. What is it about you that I would want to work under your leadership? You gotta go here. You gotta go here on that one. What is it about you that I would want to work under your leadership? That's your brand identity. What is it about you? You got to ask yourself, and sometimes we got to check ourselves, right? Like, do I bring the right stuff that's worthy of somebody making the decision to work in my school under my leadership when they have other options? What is it about you? Meaning, what is your reputation as leader in that school if you've been there at least a year? What is your brand identity as a leader in your school that I choose you? It's like two people decide to be one, a couple. We choose each other. Well, school works the same way. I choose you. Why so? See, what is it about you? I'll probably do a longer session on this later because I got so much more to say about this, but this is supposed to be a monologue. But that's you, the leader. Let's look at the school. What is it about your school? What is it about all facets of your school that I would want to plant myself in there. As they would say, I would want to plant my flag in there. What is it about all facets of your school that this is the place for me? So what is it about your staff? What is it about the culture of the building? What is it about the way the building operates? And I can go on and on and on. What is it about that school? So when we talk about recruitment, you can't recruit at this level when you're going back to a trash environment. And when I say that, I'm not talking about the human beings in the school, such as the students and staff, when I use that word. I'm just talking about the overall place. So if I'm trying to recruit the best, but my environment is trash, I'm not going to get the best. And if I do get the best because I fooled them, they'll get hip to it very quickly and they'll be out of there because they know they have options. They know they got options. So I'm saying to you that yes, you've got to be active, proactive in your recruiting. But when they get to see who you are and when they get to see who that school is, it's got to match your message. Because I know your messaging is on point. I know you're saying all the right things to attract the right people to want to come and work with you in your school. But then when they get there and get to see the real you in place, you got to match your message. Right? We talking about your recruitment of the best. I ain't not even talking about just any old body. I'm talking about you trying to get the best. Don't think the Yankees, for example, and I'm not a Yankee fan, but I know they got all them World Series under their belts. Don't think the Yankees are so great just because they play in Yankee Stadium, right? Don't think the Yankees are so great just because they play in the Bronx, right? Don't think the Lakers got all them championships in the Celtics, right? Don't think they so great because they just happen to play in LA or Boston happens to play in Boston. They're great because they've always had the best players. Ha! That's it. They've always had the best players. It's not because the arena is superior, the city is superior. It's because those two franchises, well, those three, if I add the Yankees, they've always been proficient in attracting the best, top-notch athletes. Well, schools work the same way. You could sell me on strategy all you want. Yes, it matters, but at the end of the day, you need great people in the building. We don't like to talk about that part too much. See, we want to talk strategy all the time. At the end of the day, you need great people. So the strategy is you. How do you go out and recruit? And then once they come in, what is it that they see? See, so I'm saying to you, your school is just like the restaurant, just like the resort, just like the hotel, just like the other service industries, just like the airlines, just like the rental car companies, just like the stores and shops and other businesses. It's the same thing if you want to attract the best people. So let me close it by going back to the same question. Why would I want to teach in your school? I encourage somebody out there to own that question. Grasp that question. Clutch that question. Keep it close to the vest. Take ownership of it. Because if you're going to have the best, you got to have a reason for the best to want to come to you. Enough said. Hey, y'all. That's my monologue. You would think that was like a topic today, right? My topic is let's self-assess our leadership effectiveness over the past school year. You know that, remember when 50 Cent had that song, one of his earlier songs, 21 Questions? You know, I'm not like a big hip hop head, but I do keep up with hip hop. You know, I don't need to explain why. I'm an educator, right? So remember he had that song, 21 Questions. Well, I'm calling this 25 Questions, right? 25 questions. I hope I could get through this quickly, but I got 25 questions. About 2 years ago, I did a session similar to this, probably around the same time of year. But this week, when I did that, it was like 12 questions. I increased it to 25, and I enhanced the initial 12. So if you saw that video, if you were with me live or you have seen it on YouTube, this is not the same thing, right? This is going much more in depth. And I'm saying to you, let me give you a backdrop. We here now. Hit that share button, hit that retweet, hit that repost, tag somebody, text somebody, let them know we're here. Most of you have finished the school year, and then you got others who are at the end of the school year. So as Sean was talking about this morning, preparing for 2025-26, I want to tag team with Sean, and I want to say, let's assess what we just did. So in other words, Sean said, let's project. I'm saying what he said, let's project. But I'm also simultaneously saying, let's pause for a second, right? Let's stop for a minute. And let's reflect on what occurred over the past 10 months, right? But I can't do it in one session. I need at least 75 to 100 questions. So I'm gonna do these 25 today. And let's go. And in fact, this is not something that I do out in the field. So I don't mind putting words on the screen because I don't do this one publicly. So no client has to say to me, man, you did that thing on your Saturday Live for free and we paid. Nah, you ain't never seen this, baby. You ain't never seen this and probably never will unless you see it like here and you say, you got to bring that to my school. Then, of course, I will, but I'm going to charge you for it. Right. So here we go. Hey, y'all. So before I read that question again, your self-evaluation. You cannot, in fact, let me take this off of here. I'm in it now. You cannot wait for your evaluator of record to inform you of your effectiveness. That is not smart, right? That is not sound practice. You cannot wait for that person because it's no telling when that person's going to evaluate. Let's say, for example, they evaluate you once in the fall and once in the spring, right? So, okay, so they give you a fall evaluation in November, maybe, right? October, if you start in May, and then you get another one in the spring. Right. So now you're going through all those months and you get no feedback. It's not good. Right. You need feedback on a daily basis. One might even say you need feedback on an hourly basis or even less time. So that means your feedback has got to be self-assessing. You got to assess yourself. Right. You can have an accountability partner, but that person, your accountability partner, as I said a few weeks ago, is probably not in your building. Right. That's probably a colleague that may do the same work you do, but they don't see you in action. So the feedback it can be good, but it may not be 100% accurate. You have to condition yourself to be brutally honest with the person in your mirror. In fact, you have to have the audacity to look at the person in your mirror while being brutally honest with this person, letting this person know, meaning you, who exactly you are. You can't fake the funk with the person in the mirror. And as George Clinton in Parliament Funkadelic would say, if you fake the funk, your nose will grow. And then that means everybody knows you ain't nothing but a liar. Right? So you gotta be brutally honest with the person in your mirror about your performance, about your leadership. So with that said, let's jump into it. Let me put that first sentence back up. How would I rate my leadership over the past year overall on a scale of 1 to 10? So this is being very general before I get specific. I'm just asking of you, think about your leadership over the year, the totality of it. How do you rate yourself? And I'm gonna say to you all, just in the sake of being big brother, being mentor, being coach, if you gave yourself a 10, if you gave yourself a 9, you better have some real extraordinary data to back that up, right? Because if you gave yourself a 10, that means you are a perfect leader. You are the epitome of school leadership. So I would never give myself a 10, a 9, probably not even an 8. Because if I do, there's no margin for growth there. Right. I'm not telling you how to rate yourself. I'm just giving you my thoughts, my advice as it relates to rating yourself. How would you rate yourself? But I'm asking you, look, get out a device, a computer, a tablet, a phone, or go old school pen and paper. Write each of these out, y'all. unless you're going to watch the video over later on. And then I'm not asking you necessarily to rate yourself in real time right now, because I want you to stay focused on the presentation. But at some point, I want you to go back to this. So you may want to list this the way I'm listing it, right? And as a matter of fact, let me say this to you. I forgot to say this in my announcements. It's in my announcements, but I didn't look at it. Be on the lookout. I don't know when I'm going to start this up, but I'm going to do it. I told my wife last week. I'm going to start the AP and New Principles Academy meetups, right? The AP and New Principles Academy meetups. What is that? Meaning that I'm going to request of you, don't do it now, when I make the request, that you send me an inbox, that you want to be a part of that. Then I'm going to send you a Zoom link. And that way we can go on Zoom privately, not on a public platform, but a private space, a Zoom call, and we can engage with one another. Right. So that's something I'm playing with in my head in terms of what that's going to look like, but it's going to happen. I just want to be able to talk to some of y'all. I want to talk to those of you that want to be in a forum like that. So be on the lookout for it. So then, and I bring it up in the context of this question, so that then when we're talking, we can have an honest conversation about how we would rate ourselves as it relates to our work, right? Not just you all on the other side of my camera and you listening to me, you listening to my guest, but this will be us engaging with one another, cameras on. But you have to feel that it's a safe space, that you can be as open as you can. Remember, nothing's perfectly safe, but you have to feel comfortable in engaging in that platform, and then it'll be worthwhile for you. So enough said on that. Just know that that's coming. It's on, to be on the lookout for it. So how would you rate yourself? Rate yourself, but do it later on. Let's go to number 2. Am I satisfied with my leadership over the past year? Right now, I know it's sexy to say, we'll say to people, I'm never satisfied. And I do it. I even have hashtags. I say never satisfied. But I don't, but in this, I want you to be honest. Can you say to yourself, I'm pleased. I had a good year. I'm satisfied. Of course, bigger picture, I'm never satisfied, back to what I just said. But in terms of just the immediacy, yeah, I'm satisfied. I think I had a good year. I think I demonstrated growth over last year. My data shows it. My school culture shows it. Our school system show it. So many things. I think we've come a long way, right? I don't have a problem with you saying, yes, I'm satisfied. Bigger picture is when we say never satisfied, because we always want to keep growing. So now I go back to you. Am I satisfied with my leadership over the past year? Those of you who are not in leadership, but you aspire to be, then just base it on what you do right now. Because whatever it is you do right now, you're a counselor, you're a teacher, it has transferability. Right? If you're not satisfied with your performance as a teacher, as a counselor, then what makes you think you'll be satisfied with your performance leading men and women and children? Right? So am I satisfied with my leadership over the past year? Let's keep going, y'all. If I could do a reset on the past year, how would I lead differently? Wow. Now, theoretically, every year is a reset, right? Every year you get a new beginning. But I'm not asking it that way. I'm asking, if you had an opportunity, as you just look at the world that you had your year over the course of last year, and you look at the deficiencies, you look at the faults, you look at the flaws. If you could do those over, what would you do differently? Think about the interactions. Think about the promises that you made, right? Think about the pre-observation conferences or the lack thereof, the post-observation conferences or the lack thereof, the quality and quantity of the time you spent in classrooms, right? The systems you put in place, the procedures you put in place, all that kinds of thing, the processes you put in place, your parent meetings, your parent conversations, your community meetings, your community conversations, everything. The way you budget it, the way you spend it out of your budget, all that stuff. And as you think about some of those different dynamics, if you had the opportunity to do a do-over, how would you do it differently? what would you do differently? If I could do a reset on the past year, how would I lead differently? Right? So again, it's easy for me to sit here and brainstorm every possibility as it relates to leadership, but I don't know your specificity. You know your specificity. So all I'm asking of you is to reflect back on your specificity and ask yourself, what would I have done differently if I was given the opportunity? Then you take that and you write it or you type it and you keep it close to the vest, because you do have a reset starting at the start of the new school year. So now you want to make sure whatever that flaw was, whatever that mistake was, whatever that deficiency was, now you want to improve upon it. You want to learn from the experience. That's called wisdom. We'll call it leadership wisdom, learning from experiences of your leadership past, right? So just keep all that in mind. Let's go. I'm going to keep it moving. Number 4, did I grow as a leader? I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't know if these are questions that we intentionally ask ourselves. They could be questions that unintentionally, maybe we do. But what I'm saying to you, I want you to be intentional. Ask yourself, just reflect over the past school year and ask yourself, did I grow? Like, am I a new creature compared to who I was last year? Right? That matters. Did I grow? Am I better? Am I that much more proficient? Am I that much more effective? Am I that much more efficient in what I do? And depending on your answer, now let's go even more specific on it. In what ways? What are the indicators, right? What are the indicators? See, yes, I'm looking for the broad answer. But then I'm saying, okay, now let's narrow it. So there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of writing with this with today's session. Like Dr. Houston just said, the proof, right? So now, okay, let me look at this phase of my leadership. Did I grow here? So since I talk instructional leadership all the time, right? Since that book, that book back there, So let's go right there. The title, what is my value instructionally to the teachers I supervise? So now let's juxtapose that with that question. Did I grow as a leader? So did my value increase this year as it relates to who I am instructionally? That's how I want you to take that question. So then we can go even, we can narrow it more. The pre-observation conference. What was the quality of the strategies that I brought to my teachers? What was the quality of the strategies? See, that matters. What is the quality of my observation of the implementation of the strategy? And then what was the quality of my post-conversation of the observation that was rooted in the pre-observation conversation? See, we being meticulous with this. That's how you got to approach it, y'all. That's how you got to approach it. See, like in football, like when the receiver is running down the field to catch the ball, they count the steps, right? So they count the steps, and then they might make a hook right, hook left. Well, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm asking you to count the steps to when you make that hook, when you run that pattern. See, did I grow? And let me tell you something. It's okay if you say, I don't think I grew. I hope you all grew. But what if you said, man, I had a bad year. I had a rough time with my superintendent. I had a rough time with my assistant superintendent. Children, we still suffering from the remnants of COVID. Teachers are absent all the time, and whatever. I'm brainstorming. And thereby you say, I didn't grow. I got stagnant because I grew frustrated. I'm gonna read all them comments this afternoon, y'all. So because I can't see them right now because I'm looking at me. When I have guests, I could look at my comments. So I'm gonna read them. I mean, I see them, but I don't see them. Put it that way. So again, don't beat up on yourself too hard. Give yourself some grace, but be honest. Be honest with the person in your mirror, because the key is that you grow, right? And you're not waiting till the end of next school year to assess your performance. I told you that already. You're assessing yourself daily. And the best assessment, I mean the absolute best assessment is that you are keeping a journal. You can't hold this stuff all day. Can't hold it. You're gonna lose it because you got too much in here. You know, the world is so different today than it was, say, 20 years ago, because most of us are on social media. That means, and I don't mean, no, let me change that. Most of us are on the internet, right? Social media being an aspect of it. So between social media and then the larger World Wide Web, the volume, the quantity of information is coming at us. It's just coming. It's just coming. Then if you email, like I subscribe to various different newspapers and I don't read them all, but they drop in headlines in my email, my inbox all day long. So I'm looking at those headlines, and then some of them I'll say, let me get a quick read of that because that sounds intriguing, right? So the information is just coming and it's coming and it's coming. So this is a different world from 20 years ago as far as just the information highway. So I'm saying to you, I don't want this experience to be so overwhelming, but I do want you to jot down, maybe is a better word, what you're thinking as it relates to these questions, so that you can refer back to them at the appropriate time, but reflecting ongoing, assessing ongoing, adjusting ongoing toward improvement every day. Let's go. Next one. Number 5. I got 25 questions, y'all. Am I satisfied with the quality and the quantity of professional learning I engaged in? So I guess that begs a bigger question. Did I engage in professional learning this year? Right. And it's easy to not, because the work can be so overwhelming that, Principal Gafele, are you kidding me? I didn't have time to go to a conference. I didn't have time to go to a seminar. I don't have time to listen to a podcast. I don't have time to watch your live stream on Saturday. I don't have time to read a book. I don't have time to read a blog. You know, I get it. I really do, because I did this for 14 years. The one that never did it might not be able to relate to it. That's why folks is on these stages talking about school leadership, they never done school leadership. I can't listen to them. It's like I can't hear you. I know I digress, and I'm gonna stay digress. But give me like 5 more seconds on that one. Someone that I cannot listen to somebody that didn't do this work. I just can't. You may be saying all the good right things. It sounds good. It makes sense. But I can't visualize you in a school doing what you're teaching, because I don't know that you can do this. You're very articulate. You sound good, but I don't know that you can do this because you haven't demonstrated that you can. So someone talking leadership, I can't hear you if you haven't done this work. And when I read your bio and it's clear that you've never done it, guess who's going to be walking out of that convention, that auditorium? I'm leaving. I'll go eat a bagel or something. I ain't listening to you, because you don't know what you're talking about. That's like they bring a football team to hear me talk about football. Like once they hear we listening. Now, if they brought me in to do a motivational talk, fine. But I didn't say that. You bring me in to talk about being an effective linebacker. and then they find out I ain't never been a linebacker before. I ain't never played I did play defensive end in Pop Warner, right? But that's a long time ago. See, so I'm saying I got to hear people that's done this work. So now let me go back to number 5, right? Number 5 says, am I satisfied with the quality and quantity of the professional learning that I engaged in. So I'm asking you, what was the quality of the professional learning? And what was the quantity? How much of it did you get? I know quality always matters, but I'm also asking you, how much did you engage in? Because there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn in professional in leadership, in school leadership. I'm quite pleased by just the volume of people that tune into this academy, whether it be live or the video. And most people watch the video, not the live. The live count is much lower than the video count. So when I'm monitoring the video count throughout the course of the week, I'm quite pleased by those numbers, because that's telling me there's a lot of people watching. It averages anywhere from 10,000 and more, depending on the topic. So I'm pleased by that in terms of quantity, right? But then I got to hope that the quality matches the quantity, right? So with you, appreciate that, Lisette. So with you, it's the same thing. Like, how are you incorporating your own professional learning in your professional growth and development? How are you infusing that into your practice? That matters, right? But Principal Kafele, I don't have time. Well, that speaks to your ability to manage time. It speaks to how you plan. It speaks to how you organize. And guess what? That's one of my 25 questions. So I will wait until I get to that for that. Let's go. Y'all, never mind. I was going to say something that was silly. I'm not even going to say it. Here we go. I was actually going to sing to y'all, but then I said the YouTube might recognize the melody and flag me. So let me just keep away from that. Where we at? Number 6. If my this is a big one, y'all. If my most effective teachers assessed my performance as their supervisor, what might be their conclusions? It's an interesting question, right? If my most effective teachers assessed my performance as their supervisor, what might be their conclusion? So I'm not limiting this to any one particular aspect of your leadership, like instructional leadership. I could ask you that question just instructionally alone, which, keep that in your mind. Let's throw it out there. But I'm just talking about overall, because see, you're going to assess their performance. What I'm asking you, what if they assessed your performance? But I'm not asking you about your entire staff. I'm asking you about your best. Those teachers who are most effective in your classrooms, what might they say about their leadership? And the reason I would ask you a question like that, because guess what? Their opinion of you matters, because they're good. They're talented. They get it done, because I use that word effective. So therefore, these are people who get it done. Not just it looks good in the classroom, they're getting results. So if they're that phenomenal, they're that amazing, I'm just asking you, if you took that group of teachers, what would they see in you? Because see, if I'm highly effective, I should still be able to grow from you, right? It shouldn't be, I'm so good now, I don't have to learn anymore. I don't have to grow anymore. Do you think, I shouldn't throw out athletes' names because everybody doesn't like the same athletes, but I'll say it anyway. Do you think that when Michael Jordan won six championships, do you think after he won the first 3, he stopped growing? No, because see, like in those last 3, just his body alone, you're not the same person anymore. You're getting older. You can't do the things you used to do the same way. So he had to figure out a way to enhance his game in a way that he wasn't doing in the earlier part of his career, because your body is changing and you're getting less agile and you can't do a lot of the things you used to do. You can't jump as high, can't shoot as far, and all that kind of thing. So how do I adjust so that I continue to grow? Well, it works the same way in leadership, y'all. The same way. So that teacher can still grow. Been teacher of the year a few times, can still grow. But what if that teacher feels, but I'm not getting that growth from you? See, that's the point I'm making. You still have to be one that can make that teacher a better teacher. But now we flip it. I'm doing like so many things today, man. This is harder than when I got a guess. In terms of just maneuvering my screen. Number 7, if my most struggling teachers assess my performance as their supervisor, what might be their conclusion? It's another interesting question. My most struggling. See, that's the one. Let's use this scenario. Let's say that you hired this struggling teacher. You hired him. And I don't mean it was like 11th hour. It's the day before the first day of school and you just pulled anybody in. You know, I think we've all probably done that. I don't mean that. I mean, you took your time singing these love songs, right? Luther Vandross. You vetted this teacher. You assessed this teacher. You brought this teacher in to do a demo lesson. You had this teacher hang with you throughout the course of the day, and y'all just interacted, walked the building, went in the classrooms, went in the cafeteria. You know, you did it right. You did the real interview, not just sitting behind some desk, but y'all journeyed that building, right? Y'all interacted with teachers and staff so that you could really assess whether or not this is somebody that you wanted to be on your staff. So now you find out, so you're confident in this teacher, and now you find out in the first couple of days, this teacher is struggling heavily, right? Well, your job is to help this teacher to grow into a superstar. That's your job. That is your job. You hired this person. Now you got to play the role in making this person a superstar, because if you got to show this person the door, meaning to leave, then that speaks volumes about your ability to vet a candidate for your school. It means you got some deficiencies in terms of how you evaluate, how you assess a candidate to become a teacher in your building. So I never would want to wear that I hired you and now I got to fire you. That means I failed. Not the candidate. I failed. So now you got this teacher. That's right, Yolanda. Ouch. So now you got this teacher. And I'm saying in the struggling teacher, or teachers plural, if my most struggling teachers assess my performance as their supervisor, what might be their conclusion? Because remember, they could be struggling in the classroom, but it doesn't make them unintelligent. It doesn't make them not realize that this person's not helping me, assisting me, setting me up for success. They're still smart human beings. I mean, you did hire them, right? So now, what might they say? You say, I got to read this one. Hernika said, our district only allows 20-minute interview with a candidate with scripted questions. It's ridiculous. Hernika, you know, I'm one of them people. I'm like way outside the box. It's not just me as a leader. It's my personality. People that know me know that. You know, just the speech I gave yesterday, you know, at the Educator of Color Symposium, I stepped like, I didn't just step out the box. I stepped out the building, right? I'm unorthodox. So if that's me in that situation, I probably shouldn't be saying this publicly. Thank God I don't know what district it is, so they don't get mad at me. But for me, I'm gonna get that candidate's phone number. Right. And we're gonna have to talk offline. We somehow, some way, I gotta be able to talk to you beyond 20 minutes. Right. Because, and let me tell you why, and I think this ties into my number 7. Because if you've been on this platform for a while, then you know what I mean by young Principal Kafele. If you have not been on this platform, then you better ask somebody. Right. So young Principal Kafele is sitting in the classroom of that candidate that was interviewed for 20 minutes. So I can't get much out of you in 20 minutes. I don't know who the heck you are in 20 minutes. So now, young Principal Kafele, again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you better ask somebody that's been on here for a while, and or just put it in the thread. What's he mean by young Principal Kafele? Y'all can tell him, right? So now, young Principal Kafele is sitting in your classroom with this 20-minute interview teacher. Guess what? I might be therefore in a classroom with incompetence. And now you're going to help me when I'm dealing with my own stuff? And you're going to take me to the next level? Young Principal Kafele? Nah. So I say that to say the young Principal Kafele's in the world, because it's a lot of us, man. It's a lot of us. It's too many of us. And you're going to put somebody in there that we just had a 20-minute conversation with? And that person's going to perform miracles? Nah. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. That thing, just saying it, make me want to shed a tear, man. I'm not going to. Some of y'all know. Don't do that, Cafe, because we seen you cry on here before. My mother on here. Hey, Ma, I ain't gonna start crying. And my wife, I ain't. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. Right. So here we go. So that struggling teacher. Ideally, I want that struggling teacher to say, "Yeah, I came in here. It was rocky, man. It was rocky. But Principal Kafele or Assistant Principal so-and-so, whomever, they took me under the wing, man. He took me under the wing. He showed me how to do this. He even modeled a lesson. He showed me what's up. And now I'm good. I'm much better than I was." See, but imagine that struggling teacher says, "Yeah, they hired me, man, sold me to Brooklyn Bridge. And then I never saw him again, man. Just coming into this building was a nightmare. Coming into that classroom was a nightmare for me. I had no support. I had no assistance. He didn't assign a mentor to me. It was nothing. He just threw me in, sink or swim." See, that's what that struggling teacher might say if that struggling teacher's in that situation. Make sure, fam, that you don't bring in a new teacher or even a veteran that needs you. See, don't just take the whatever veteran, new, and everything in between. Don't just look at them if they're underperforming and say, we can't do anything with them. No, yes, that's why they hired you. Your job is to do something with them. Your job is not just to hire and fire. Your job is to hire, now train them up. You know, and those sports you like you like football, you like basketball, you like baseball, you like soccer, you like hockey, you like tennis, you like golf, you like all of them. Field hockey, lacrosse, right? You like them all, right? Listen, every one of those athletes is coached. Do you think? I mean, check this out, y'all. Do you think that at some point they stopped coaching Michael Jordan? Do you think at some point they stopped coaching Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Tom Brady, right? And I can go on and on. Do you think at some point they say, "Oh, you good? Yeah, you a bad man. Just going out there and do what you do. We're gonna coach the rest of the team. You just go out there and do you." You think they did that? No, no. Tom Brady has 7 rings. They coach his behind till the last game. That's how that works. You don't get to be great and now we don't coach you anymore. It's still there. It's still there. So it's not like we hire you, now you do your thing while I read emails. No, it's now you got to train. You got to coach. You got to develop. You got to grow people. That's your job. So that person once again can say, my principal, my assistant principal, my supervisor was phenomenal as I struggled through it. Let's go, y'all. I still got a lot to go, man. Who was I instructionally? Whew. Y'all know I ain't gonna spend a lot of time on this because I'm gonna be doing that book behind me. I'm gonna be doing a lot out of that at some point. I'm probably around September, August or September. But I'll still ask the question. Hey, y'all. Remember the title of this session today? Let's self-assess our leadership effectiveness over the past school year. 25 questions, part 1. Hey, leader, who are you instructionally? Don't give me that fluff that you think I want to hear. In fact, hey y'all, I should have said something. Give me some comments on these in this chat, y'all. Right? I mean, unless you taking them notes, then don't. My preference is your notes over your comments, right? But if you decide I ain't taking no notes, I'm gonna watch the video later, then give me some comments in here. Who was I instructionally? You don't have to put yourself out there. I'm not asking you to do that. But like if you feel like with a question like this, if you feel like I got work to do, then that's cool. If your boss saw that, that's not a problem. I mean, in fact, it's probably a good thing. They know that you know, right? So who was I instructionally? Were you who you needed to be? Like here's the question, two questions. What was your value instructionally to the teachers you supervise? That's number one. And number two, was there a correlation between your leadership and the pedagogical growth and development of the teachers that you supervise? Let me say that one to you again. Was there a correlation between your leadership and the pedagogical growth and development of the teachers that you supervise? I see those comments. I appreciate that, y'all. See, that matters. See, again, I use sports analogies because they work. And even when the folks who don't know sports, I still make them work for you. Right? So you got the NFL draft was recently. All those teams are in these mini camps right now, mini training camps. They being coached, y'all. They being all of them. They're being coached, right? So the coaches are not saying, okay, you guys, like take for example, the players who played last year and they were really good, got all these awards and all that. They're not saying to them, y'all had a good year, just run around and have fun. Or the rookies, right? Because that's the main ones these mini camps are for. So the rookies, man, you like Travis Hunter, right? He got the Heisman Trophy. They're not saying to Travis, okay, you got the Heisman, man. You know, you was the best player in college football. Go just run around and enjoy yourself. You know, they're not doing that. They in his butt. I hope you can handle that expression. They in his butt. It's like he's starting all over. That's how that works. They're coaching him. They're coaching him. They're coaching him. They're coaching him. How about you? Are you coaching them hard? You got to coach them hard, man. And I'm talking instructionally right now. You can't take nothing for granted. Let me tell you why. Because young Principal Kafele is in the classroom. The kid who spent 5 years in high school, the kid who graduated summa cum laude from undergrad school. How about that? The kid that wrote the 14 books. The kid that was named this week as Top 100 District Administration Influencer of the Year. Top 100. The same kid that spent 5 years in high school. Probably should have been in there for a 6th year because I know I ain't do nothing in my senior year. I know that. They probably just said, yo, just go. We ain't bringing you back here for no year 6. But guess what? If I graduated summa cum laude, that means it was something in here, baby. I just didn't know it. So what about all them other young Principal Kafeles throughout America who got what I got and more, but don't know it? And then you weren't anybody instructionally? You in the office reading emails or somewhere talking about you don't realize what's on my plate. I ain't got time to do that. Because that's what people tell me. Come on, man. Kafele, you making all these demands. You know, when I'm doing my seminars, making all these demands. I ain't got time to be that. Well, then you sacrificing children. Let me say it in a way that might sting a little more. You sacrificing lives. Yeah, you sacrificing lives because you said you ain't got time. And I deliberately said ain't got. Who was I instructionally? Let's go. Next one. Number 9. Am I satisfied with who I was instructionally? Ooh. That's building off of that other one. Was I satisfied with my leadership? Am I satisfied? Let me hold up my mirror, y'all. Am I satisfied with who I was instructionally this past school year? Like, did teachers really grow from my presence in the building? And am I pleased with that? Am I satisfied with that? It matters, y'all. It matters. It matters. I don't have much more to say about that one because I really put it all in that previous question. So let me keep going. Number 10, we getting there. 25 questions. What adjustments do I need to make instructionally? That's the one that's going to require this, y'all. Right? Unless you are on point, perfect, rated number 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. What adjustments do you need to make? But so it might be adjustments in terms of just the instructional leadership in isolation, but it might be adjustments in terms of the culture of the building to allow you to be that person, and then whether or not you have a culture of instructional leadership. And then looking at how your leadership team functions, because that matters as well. That's a whole other discussion, though, right? So what adjustments do I need to make going into next year? You're not going to wait till the year starts to make the adjustments. You're going to start making those adjustments now by way of how you record it, right? You're going to just take an earnest look at who you were, and then you start planning. You start organizing. You start planning so that when you start this new school year, you start it off strong, and you're going to be that instructional leader from the very beginning. Let's go. Number 10. What adjustments do I need to make let me do that again. What adjustments do I need to make regarding my daily, weekly planning? Ooh, that's a big one. That's a big one. Listen, y'all, I've said this on this platform before. I'm gonna say it again. When I was a teacher, and when you all who used to be teachers were teachers, you would write lesson plans over the weekend. I wrote mine on Sundays. And I would write my lesson plans, and I knew that the plan could become obsolete within the first 10 minutes on Monday morning because real life happens. But I still had that template, right? I can still get myself back on course. I'm going to respond to real life situations in terms of learning in the classroom, but I still have that plan of action. I'm not walking into the classroom winging it. I'm not walking into the classroom empty-handed. I'm walking into the classroom with a plan of action, ready to have a strong week because I conceptualized on Sunday what Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday would look like. But then I became an administrator, and there was no longer a lesson plan being written. So I walked into the school with my briefcase. Used to carry a briefcase. Walked into school with my briefcase. I don't think we were carrying laptops back then. So yeah, I don't think so. We talking 98. So I walked in with my briefcase and papers and stuff, right? That's what it was. So, but you know what I didn't have in that case? The weekly leadership plan. Let me say that again, because you might have missed that. The weekly leadership plan. I didn't have that. Let me tell you why. Because most people are not even talking about that. See, and let me tell you what I'm not saying. I had the to-do list. I had that. But I ain't asking you about that. A to-do list is not a plan. A to-do list is a to-do list. It's the things you said you want to do. That's not a plan. That's a list of goals. See, I was walking into the school with no plan to say, what will 7 o'clock look like? What will 7:30 look like? What will 8 look like? What will 8:30 look like? What will 9 look like? What will 9:30 look like? And so on. I had to develop a plan so that I know what my whole week's going to look like. Now, are contingencies going to occur? Of course. Just like the lesson plan can become obsolete, so can my leadership plan, but I can always get back on course. The bottom line was I conceptualized what my week was going to look like, which was inclusive of anticipating, hear me well, anticipating things that could arise that thus far have not arisen. Y'all ain't hear that. You ain't hear me on that one. You missed that. I'm writing in my plan things that could potentially arise that haven't yet arisen. See, So I'm planning my day and I'm planning my week just as I did as a teacher. I'm not putting that to the side because I became an administrator. It's just like the work I do now as a consultant. I have a plan. I would dare say my longevity in this business. I have been public speaking since 1986. I have delivered over 3,000 presentations because I plan my life. It matters. It matters. The weekly leadership plan. It matters. So, what adjustments do you need to make as it relates to your daily, as it relates to your weekly planning, leadership planning? That matters. Let's go, y'all. Y'all. I see that you're on here by the numbers, but y'all are awfully silent today. Now, maybe like you said before, maybe y'all writing. So if y'all writing, then I'm good with it. But here's the other thing, because I know this from my audiences. Maybe y'all are processing. Like a lot of my audiences, they'll say to me, because I ask them, I literally ask them in front of the audience, or I'll ask them privately during breaks. I say, why is this group so quiet? And they say, Kafele, we are processing, right? You are making us, they'll say this. This is not me. You are making us uncomfortable, right? It's like you throwing jabs at us. I hear that all the time. So I say, okay, I'm good. Because a lot of times, like I'll never forget, superintendents, they'll get on the principals, like, I need to hear you guys. You're not saying anything. And then I'll jump in to save them from the superintendent or the assistant superintendent. And I'll say, wait a minute. I say, y'all quiet. I say, are y'all like deep into reflection? They say, yeah, we are. That's why we're not talking. See, so I get all that, to this work, because, I think I have mastered questioning, particularly self-reflective questions, to get people thinking about what they do. I'm not new to this, right? This is something that I've been doing for a very long time. All these books I write, they're like that. Now, my mother wrote, I'm here, right? So like, I'm wondering if there's a hidden message to that. Well, so my mother said, I'm here. But see, my mother knows that a lot of what I do is rooted in what she was planting in me, right? So I don't know if she was trying to say that, right? So where you see those of you on Facebook, Dolores Cushney, that's my mother. She's 90 years old, and she be on this social media like she one of them young heads, right? She, she's savvy like that, 90. And I might add, my mother was a teacher for 30 years, elementary. Right. So she on here. She in the building, man. She ain't missed none of these. She saw all 267 of these. Let me go to this next one, y'all. Let me go to this next one. Number 12. What adjustments do I need to make regarding being and staying organized? See, so that first one was talking about your planning, but now I'm talking about your organizational skill. There are many of us, not just as leaders, but there are many of us just as human beings, whether it be adults or children. We're just not organized, right? We're not organized. We don't have systems in place for our work or systems in place for our lives. But when you talk about not being organized relative to your work, then you're probably not as proficient as you could be, right? So let me pause for one hot second. All right, we back. I had to holler at my wife right quick, right? So listen, y'all. Maybe you need to spend some of the summer. Thank you. Maybe you need to spend some of the summer just thinking about being organized, what it is you need to do. Like most of you, I would think, if you're principals, you will be in your buildings. Ain't like you said, I'm going fishing and I'll see the school in August or May or September, depending on where you are. So where's a good starting place? Your computer, your desktop, right? Is it organized? Your email inbox, is it organized? So that's a good starting place. Just your email inbox and your actual physical desktop, right? How organized are they? Then you can go to your file cabinet, because even though everything is so automated now, there's so much this that we do online, and we organize, online folders and all that. There's still hard copies. There's still need to file some hard copy documents. So I'm asking you, how organized are you with your files? Can you put your hand between your computer files and your file cabinet files? Can you put your hand on everything? Editor Joseph, I don't know how long you've been on right now. Yeah, that Google Drive. I don't know how long you've been on right now, but I was saying to another person that I write their name every week on my notes, and then I say I'm going to call them because I want to get them on the platform. Your name, I've written your name, Editor, about and I think it's Adair, right? I think I wrote your name like 6 times over the past year. And then I throw my notes out when I'm done because they're on the computer, right? That speaks to lack of organization, right? So I want you on the platform, sir. So do me a favor, send me an email. You know my address. Go to principalcafele.com and you'll see the email address. Send me an email just to remind me to invite you, because I want you on this platform, right? All right, enough said. So now, then look at everything about your work. Reflect upon everything about your work. Write it down if you need to and say, am I organized in these categories? Right? Because if you lack organization, just in terms of how you utilize time, that's a problem. Right? So I appreciate Shayla Kylie Benson saying, I need help on the email inbox. Yeah, that can be very complicated. Right? So with me, and there are various different systems to use with this. I kind of use a system that has worked with me in the past. I drag emails out of the inbox and I put them in separate folders. Now, remember, I'm not doing the work you do. I'm doing client work, right? I'm doing the work I do. So I have a zillion clients sending me emails every day. I can't rely on keeping those in an inbox. So each one of those from each client has their own folder, even if they don't follow up, because every client is not going to, a client can inquire, but then go with another speaker, right? But I still keep a file on them. Guess why? Because the next year I got them, right? So see, I got to stay organized, or I won't remember that, that client 12 months ago had an interest in me. They just didn't hire me. They had an interest. Well, now I can go back to them. Hey, remember that interest you had? Let's do it this year. They like, yeah, good idea. Glad you reached out to me. See, but you got to be organized. Now, hey, I'm gonna call you Joseph because I don't want to butcher your name, right? Even though I should know. I think I was always Eder back in the day, but I think it's Adair, right? But Principal Joseph, this is why I need you on the platform, because you say use AI. It is amazing. I would have you on. I got to get you on here so that you can school me as the host, because by you, I can't even now go to the fam on the call and say, yes, like Principal Joseph said, AI is amazing for your organization. I don't know that world. And I don't have a problem admitting it, right? That's not my world. But that's why I bring all these guests on. A whole lot of my guests are not my world. So while they're on the platform teaching, I'm on here taking notes, learning, right? So I'm saying to you, you got to look at 21st century organization, right? So if AI is a tool to stay organized, then by all means, right? At some point, I'm going to figure out AI. In the meantime, Principal Joseph, send me that email. I need you on here, man, so we can reminisce and everything live, right? You know what I mean? Yes, sir. Now I got Sheikah saying the same thing. Sheikah, put in the comment, Dr. Houston, AI with organization. Give me that answer, because I want to know what you mean. And while you do that, let me keep going. So again, what adjustments do I need to make regarding being and staying organized? If that means that artificial intelligence can make me that much more organized in my work, then I'm going to jump on board. right? So, so I learned from y'all. I ain't just the teacher, I'm the student, right? Let's go. Next one. Yes, Dr. Houston said I use AI to organize. All right, we gonna have a conversation real soon. In fact, I'll see you at the institute anyway. So you're gonna have to educate me, and then hey Sheikah, then I'm gonna have you come to the front of the class and you can talk to everybody else as well while I take a breather. Right? So let's go. Let's go. Number 13. What adjustments do I need to make regarding managing my time? Y'all gonna say there's an AI option to that too? So anyway, listen, y'all. You've heard it a million times from me and others that either you're gonna manage your time or your time is gonna manage you. People say there's not enough time in a day. I say nonsense. There are 24 hours in a day. There are X number of minutes. I used to know it. You can put it in the chat. I forgot. Right? What was it 3,200 or something? Right? So you got all those minutes in the day. But some of y'all got fat on those minutes. You got fat on the bone. Right? So you gotta carve some of that fat from the bone. You got time, but you're not utilizing your time correctly. You're not managing your time correctly. So you're doing stuff that's a waste of time. You're doing stuff that somebody else could do. And Garcia, you the same one. Make sure you send me that email. So you're doing stuff that someone else can do. You're doing stuff that you could do at a later time. You're doing stuff that you can do differently. You're not managing your time effectively, right? You've got to be a master of managing your time, but you got to analyze your time. And you got to look at that time and say, what is it about these past 10 minutes that I could have used this time in a more constructive, productive way, as opposed to doing it the way you did it? But see, this is the hard work. This is where you gotta look. You gotta look at these minutes. You literally gotta write them out. Your schedule. Okay, how could I go about this differently? How can I go about this differently? How can I go about this differently? What do I need to do different? Where can I shave something here? Where can I cut something here? It's the same way that you look at your budget. It's the same principle. Your superintendent said you getting a smaller budget this year. All right, so where am I going to make those cuts? Right? It's the same thing. It's the same principle. Right? So you've got to be a manager of your time. So in the context of today's session, the question: what adjustments do I need to make regarding managing my time? Right? It matters. It matters. Let me see. Yolanda gave me that seconds, 86,400 seconds, minutes, 1,440. There we go. Let me lock that in. 1,440. Next one. Let's go, y'all. We getting there. We just about halfway there. I'm gonna talk a little faster, y'all. How did I handle? Ooh, this is a big one. I ain't even read it yet. How did I handle and resolve the adversities that I faced? How did I handle and resolve the adversities that I faced? And if you think this was a big one, this one's a big one. Wait till you see number 15. I'm looking at it right now. 15 gonna blow your mind, right? Listen, again, the title of the session today, let's self-assess our leadership effectiveness over the past school year. 25 questions, part 1. I got 3 parts, right? This part 1. How did I handle and resolve the adversities? So I could say, within the adversities, let's say conflicts, right? Conflicts you had, conflicts students had with each other, conflicts that staff had with each other, conflicts that you had with students, you had with staff, you had with parents, you had with community members, you had with community advocates and activists, you had with a local politician, whatever it is. Situations that arose that were not conflicts, but situations that were adversities. How did you handle them? Here's my suggestion to you. You get your journal. You write it out. Get your mirror and be honest with yourself. Like prop your mirror up right in front of you, right? So that as you're writing, you keep looking at you. And then you ask yourself, how did I handle these situations? So going into next year, you're not going to wait for Kafele over the summer to give you a long list. Next year, you'll be writing as it occurs. So now you have your day, you have your situation, you have your adversity, you have your challenge, you have your obstacle, you have your pressure, you have your demand, you have your adversity. So now when you journal after school, you write it out. Here's what happened. Because a lot of those you have to write it out as a report anyway. So you write it out. But then you want to write underneath, and here's how I handled it. Here's how I resolved it. You want to keep a running record of your work. You want to keep a running record of your leadership, right? So write it out. So you wrote the situation, right? So here's what it was. Here's how I handled it. But now watch this third level. Here's how I will prevent it from recurring next time. See, here's how I will prevent this from recurring. Because now you know it can happen. So here's how I get in front of it, right? See, so, but you got to write. And let me tell you this. Don't be afraid of writing, right? Just like some people are afraid of reading, right? Don't be afraid of reading and don't be afraid of writing it. I know it's more work, but it's going to make you better. That's the point. It's going to make you better. So again, what happened? How'd you handle it? How'd you resolve it? What will you do differently going into next time if a situation like that arises? That's where we want to go with that. So I have to think, and I don't expect you all to write every adversity you had this year, because in the world of leadership, you had some kind of challenge probably every day. But think about those ones that were most salient, right? Certain ones, they really stood out above the others, right? And the ones that were most salient for me, I can bring those up now, and that was over 14 years ago, right? I can bring those up because those are the ones that are still in my head, right? So just think about that, and start journaling that matters. Let me go to my next one. This the one I said. This one gonna blow you away. Now let me read 14 again first to give it context. How did I handle and resolve my adversities that I face? Now watch this. How did I handle my wins? Now the reason I said blow you away is because we wouldn't typically use the word handle with wins. I mean, you had a win, you like, okay, good. This was good, right? We move on. I'm approaching this a little bit differently. How did I handle my wins? Meaning, you're not just going to have the win and say, okay, this was good, and you smile and then you move on with life. No. Let's assess that. Why was this a win? Y'all ain't hear me. Y'all ain't hear me. Why was this a win? Like, what happened? What did you do to make this situation a win, whatever it was? And I don't mean like a conflict or adversity became a win. I mean, it's just you wanted something. But like now, okay, I won. Things turned out really good on this situation. But why did it? You want to assess that. Why was it good? But that ain't even the good part yet. I ain't get there yet. Why was this a win? Now watch this. Here's the one, y'all. Watch this. Now that you had this win, what you gonna do to turn that into a bigger win? Ooh. Let me word that differently. How you gonna grow from a win? I mean, something you know, like something happened. Maybe it was some scores. Maybe it was the volume of students on the honor roll. I mean, anything. You brainstorm it, and you like, yeah, we in good shape, man. Yeah. No, don't rest on that. Now, how do I build on that? How do I take this? Like, let's say you were the principal of the year. So they writing about you in the newspapers, you on the local news, you know, you got all sorts of publicity, man. You can write your own ticket now. Man, I feel good. Got my chest out, baby. No. How do I build on that? How do I take it to a new height? That win is not even as significant as it used to be. See, that's that growth mindset, y'all. You took the win and said, not yet. See, you ain't take the win and say, finite. You took the win and said, yeah, Kimberly said it. What's next? I know, right? What's next? See, that's it. That's that growth mindset. You ain't like, I celebrate for the rest of the career. Now what? Kimberly May said, now what? What's next? See, that's how you got to think, leaders. You ain't gonna party. I mean, you can have the party, but just let it be for the one day. Now we gotta move on, right? What's next, right? So how did I handle? You know what? If you're writing this, put underscore the word handle, right? How did I handle my win? Because see, if it's just celebratory, man, and moving on, that win can become a loss at some point. Now, you took that win and you said, okay, now we're going to use that. That win is leverage. That's what you said. That win is leverage. I remember when, I see you, Sneed. There you go. Handle. I remember when I won the Milken Award, December 1st, 2009. Somebody said, oh, Kafele, a Milken winner? Yeah, man. Where you been? So when I won the Milken, and we you know we as a Milken family, there's 3,000 of us. We talk about this. I leverage that. Right. So I'm not saying anything that the Milken Foundation would say, oh, I don't like what Kafele just said, because I know they aren't. You know, we got a lot of fam on here. No, we leverage that. We get the Milken, so now we use that, we leverage that to elevate. That's what we do intentionally. As a matter of fact, let me say this to you. The Milken Foundation brings me in every year since I won the Milken in 2009 to speak to the new class of Milken winners. And we go to UCLA campus in LA every year. And my role is to talk about the leveraging of the Milken Award. That's what I do. I go in there and I do a whole keynote at the Milken Award ceremony. So I'm saying that to say that's how you have to handle your wins. You leverage that. And I don't mean necessarily to your next job. I don't mean, it could be, don't get me wrong, but I don't mean that. I mean to your next win. Your next win. Your next win. Man, as my man Sean Hurt would say, I'm talking good this morning. That's what Sean say every morning. He say, I'm talking good. I'm talking good right now. I know that, man. I wish I would have had somebody give me this session when I was a teacher with my sights on becoming an administrator, or my first year in administration. I needed this. Which I'm giving y'all. I really did. Listen, let me go to number 16. We getting there, y'all. We almost done. Am I satisfied with how I managed my school's budget? Ooh. Let me tell y'all something. You have to go to Sean's page, Sean's presentation this morning, his podcast, as he calls it. I tend to call these live sessions live streams. I don't use the words podcast. I use live stream, but I know he calls it podcast. So go to his podcast, right? 10 o'clock. You can go to Sean Hurt. He comes on 10 o'clock live. And he was talking about when that this time of the year is the time to do all your ordering. Or whenever your new budget comes. Like most of us, I guess, it's July 1st for September people. People who start in August you probably have it. So, and he was saying, he said it would bug me if I didn't order enough books, and I had students sitting in a classroom with no books. Like he said 25 kids in the classroom and only 24 books. So I'm saying here, he gave a master class this morning. That's why I'm quoting him so much. So here's the thing, y'all. That's your budget. That's a part of managing your budget. You're not going to buy stuff. You're not going to buy things for your school without knowing your exact needs. right? You have to know your exact needs. If so, let's say, for example, let's talk about one class, just hypothetically. This is not even realistic, but let's just say hypothetically, it's 25 kids in the class. Well, you need at least 35 books for that class, at least minimally. You're not gonna order 25, right? So you need at least 35 because you don't know, some books may get lost. New kids come in and they lost their books are tattered. That's old school because now a lot of y'all don't even use books. I know. I'm talking like my day, right? So, but I'm saying to you that in using your budget, and managing your budget, you got to be proficient as if that was your personal checkbook. Let me tell you something. I prided myself on knowing my budget. I prided myself. I knew my budget so well, I memorized every account code. I did not sit there and intentionally memorize it as if I was studying for a test. It was just that using it for the years I used it, they just were locked in. The instructional code, it was locked in. The professional development code was locked in. The this and that code, they were all locked in. I just knew them, and I knew my budget. I knew it inside and out. I prided myself on it. I felt good about myself that I knew my budget the way I did, right? And we were zero-based budgeting in East Orange, New Jersey. So I built my budget. All we had in zero, for those of you that are not familiar with zero-based budgeting, all we had was a pot of money that they gave us and said, now make a budget, right? So I'm allocating money for this budget, for this account, I should say, and allocating money for this account, right? And then, but see, doing it that way, you don't have the district to say, no, you need to put money here and here. No, you have autonomy. So you're deeming what was most critical to your school, and it's going to be instruction, right? So you're deeming what's most critical, but you're also deeming where are my other needs. Imagine you don't have a professional development mindset and you put all your money somewhere else, and now you can't pay for anything for your teachers to attend because you don't have a professional development mindset. So not only must you be proficient with your budget, but you must be proficient in those areas that your budget covers so that you can ensure that you are putting money in the right place if you're zero-based budgeting. Because back in those days, you couldn't transfer. You could transfer in and out of certain accounts, but you could not transfer out of instruction. Once that money was instruction, it is locked in. You cannot transfer. You got to get a zillion signatures to transfer out of instruction back in those days, right? So I'm saying that to ask the question, am I satisfied with how I manage my school's budget? That matters. That matters. Let's go. Yeah, have a school business administrator as guest, Greg Snee. I probably need to, and I know a few. Probably need to. I actually had one, and that was your current superintendent. But our conversation wasn't really budget, right? So I probably need to do that. Let's go. Next one. We almost done, y'all. Hang in there with me. Number 17. What adjustments do I need to make regarding managing? Wait a minute. What I do? Let me see what that. Number 16 said, am I satisfied with how I manage my school's budget? Number 17 is saying, what adjustments do I need to make regarding managing my school's budget? So maybe as you reflect upon last year and assess who you were relative to managing your budget, that maybe sitting here right now, you said, I need to make some adjustments because I don't like how money was allocated, or I don't like how I spent money. I don't like the fact that I didn't have money for this, but I had money for that. But for that, I didn't need money. But for this, I needed a lot of money, but the money was stuck in that. If it was accounts that weren't transferable. So you got to think about that. Or maybe you ended the year. This was like baby me. You ended the year and you said, man, I got so much money. And you're in a district where you're allowed to roll it over, or you're in a district where they're going to take that money back to the district. Well, I learned, man, I spent that budget down to the last penny. And that person that understands budgeting, understands how to manage a budget, they also understand that if you're going to continue to get the funding that you need, given there are no budget cuts, that you're going to be able to demonstrate that you know how to spend down your budget and spend appropriately. But you got to spend it. You end your year and you got a $50,000 sitting somewhere, $100,000 sitting somewhere. On the one hand, we're gonna question you just on that alone, but then we might question your leadership. So you got to make sure that you're spending down that money. So principals on here right now, are your assistant principals being exposed to the budget? I wasn't. So don't set your assistant principal up for failure. And then they become a principal managing a multi-million-dollar budget if it's a budget that includes staff and is at the secondary level. Set them up for success. I need some water, y'all. Set them up for success by ensuring that they know how to manage a budget. Number 18, did my assistant principals grow under my leadership? Whew. That's a whole class, y'all. I'm looking at it now saying, why did I even put it here? What did my assistant principals grow under my leadership? I'm not going to treat it as a class. I'm just going to say this because I've been, y'all know me. I talk about this all the time. If you have an assistant principal, matter of fact, you all know my expression. The assistant principalship, the most misunderstood and underutilized position in all of education. I believe that with everything within me, every fiber of my being. That assistant principal should know everything you know, principal. That assistant principal should be exposed to everything you've been exposed to, principal. I can't tell you the volume of assistant principals who tell me that they're full-time disciplinary. I meet them every day. I met them yesterday. I'm full-time. Come on, man. We too late in the game to still be playing that way. The culture of the school is what's forcing this person to be this full-time disciplinarian. We got to make adjustments to the culture. The culture is not conducive to a full-time assistant principal being number 2 in the building that's exposed to everything about school leadership. How you going to go to grad school learning everything about principal leadership, and then you get the job and they tell you to do discipline all day and then stop discipline during the lunch periods and go up there and supervise the cafeteria, and then when you finish that, come down and do the rest of the discipline until 3 o'clock and they go home. And you paying that person 6 figures to do that? You could bring one of your seniors from the high schools to do that. Anybody could read a referral and preach a sermon and make a decision and call a parent. You don't need to pay nobody 6 figures to do that. So, principal, make sure that assistant principal is prepared one day to sit in your chair. And if you are threatened by that assistant principal, you got to go to your mirror and ask why. How you going to be threatened by your own assistant principal? I'm going to keep that person at bay because they ain't going to be vying for my job. Then that means you don't care about young Principal Kafele. Because that assistant principal supervises teachers. And if that assistant principal supervises teachers, but cannot coach them because I feel I don't have the time to coach them and observe them, then the young Principal Kafeles of the world are sitting in those classrooms and may never maximize their potential because they had to suffer and endure in classrooms of teachers who were less than competent because they weren't being coached into greatness. Enough said right there. Let's go, y'all. Let's go. Next one, number 19. Do my assistant principals benefit my school academically? Hey, principal, I'm talking to you again. So building off of what I said in number 18, is your school benefiting because the assistant principal's in the building. Academically, I didn't ask, was your school benefiting, and then put the question mark. Is your assistant principal, is your school benefiting academically because your assistant principal is there? Ask yourself the question. Hey, write that down. I hope y'all journaling, man. I'm talking good, man. Just like Sean Hurt says, I'm talking good today. I haven't gone solo in a while. No, I did in June. I forgot. I was talking good in June too, right? So listen, you got to write that out. You got to ask yourself. I got one assistant principal, and I know some of you don't have one in a smaller school. I got one assistant principal. I got two. I got three. I got four. Some schools, I got five. I got six, right? So some schools got up to 6 assistant principals. Okay, so here's my question. Whatever number you got, is that school benefiting academically from that assistant principal being in the building? I'm not asking, is that school benefiting? That's not the question. I'm sure it is. I'm asking, is it benefiting because the assistant principal is in the building academically? Let me say that again. Is it benefiting academically because the assistant principal is in the building? Do my assistant principals benefit my school academically? Which, those of you who were with us from the beginning, that was the overarching question to this platform when it was known as the virtual the virtual assistant principal leadership academy. That was the basis for this platform for its first 2 years, maybe 3. I forgot when I rebranded to new principles. Let's go, number 20. Is my school leadership team the true engine of my school? Oh, God. Let me tell you something. Let me show you something. Let me see. Let me try that again. Let me show you something. See this here? See that there? The 8th chapter of this book is called Maximizing Your School Leaders, your Administrative Leadership Team. It is the longest chapter in the book. Why? Because it was the area of the book that I had the most to say. How the administrative leadership team functions. I had more to say about that in that book than anything else in the book. The administrative leadership team. This is asking, is my leadership team the true engine of my school? When I was at the conference yesterday, I did a breakout session just for leaders. And I asked the leaders, I said, for those of you that know football, how many days per week do you think the head coach and the assistant coaches meet? And everyone in the room said 7 days. Game day, and then all the other days. You think on game day, like let's say they play a game on Sunday afternoon or Sunday night. Do you think the coaches are not going to have a conversation after the game and Monday about the game? Nah, they're going to talk. Do you think the day before the game on Saturday, they're not going to talk like Friday, they talk, and then Saturday, all right, y'all, we ready. I see you Sunday morning at the stadium. Nah. But you know something? In schools, it's common for me to hear administrators say to me in meetings, in sessions that I do, we meet maybe every other week, every 2 weeks. Or, well, we don't have like a formal sit down. Like we see each other in the hallway. I hear this. People tell me this. Or like we'll be on cafeteria duty together and we'll talk about some things up there. Huh? That's like the football coach is saying, we like when we like during lunch, we have a hot dog and we'll talk about a couple things. Man, them people putting in some hours, man. But like, I love football. I can't wait for the season to start. But you know something? That's just my outlet. That's like my Sunday outlet. I'm like mad when I got a flight on Sunday. I can't see the game. I'm like, I posted on Facebook, oh, Sunday flying, I'm going to miss the game. Right, but here's the thing. I love football. but it doesn't measure up to what you do at all. It's just a small fraction to what you do. How you going to be leadership, part of a team, and y'all not talking? Y'all not talking. And you're going to maximize the potential of young principal Kafeles of the world? Y'all not talking? Like once, and if you are talking every other week, right? What y'all talking about? Because every other week means like 14 days transpired. Y'all gonna have 14 days worth of conversation in an hour? You gotta laugh at that one, man. It's not happening. It's not happening. So I'm saying that to say this. I could say on here, y'all gotta meet every day. I won't say it. I won't say it. My man, I ain't gonna name drop, but you know something? Yeah, I'm not gonna name drop. But you know something? I was gonna say something good, but I'm not gonna name drop on this one. But here's the thing. You got to meet pretty consistently, because that leadership team has to be the true engine. That's the motor of that school. Nothing else is the engine. And I didn't even say the principal in this regard. I said the team. That unless it's a one administrator building, that leadership team is the engine. And I'm asking the question, is your leadership team the true engine? So as our topic is, let's self-assess our leadership effectiveness. If you are a principal on here right now, then that's a part of your self-assessment. How regularly did my leadership team meet? And what did we discuss? How substantive was it to the ongoing success of our school? Now, that's simplifying the meeting. You got it. Let's put it back up here. Let's put it back up here. You got to get yourself this, because I break it down. It's the longest chapter in the book. I think I covered everything that needs to be covered in that chapter as it relates to maximizing your administrative leadership team. So I'm just kind of giving you the short something here. Go to Amazon now, get the book, and then go read read that chapter first, chapter 8, and then go back and read the rest. Enough said. Let's go. I'm almost done, y'all. Let's go. Let's go. Number 21. Who was I as a recruiter of teachers? I don't have to spend any time on this. Go to my monologue today. For those of you that checked in late, my monologue title was "Why Would I Want to Teach in Your School?" Again, why would I want to teach in your school? That was my monologue title. That is where I respond to number 21. So please go back and watch the monologue. I will be doing the edit in a little while and making it a separate video, and I'll be posting it on all my social media platforms, and you'll be able to watch it anywhere you want to watch it. Why would I want to teach? Why would a teacher want to teach in your school? And let me give you the exact wording. Why would I want to teach in your school? It was the exact wording, right? So check that out so I can move on from this one. Number 22. How effectively, or if you don't have to wait for me to do the editing, though, you can just rewind this video on whatever platform you're watching when we're done, and you'll see it there. How effectively did I engage our parents in our work? Hey, y'all, you know something? This and number 23, how effectively did I engage our community in our work, right? So the two of them, you can't do this. Your school can't be an island unto itself, right? It's parents have to be a part of the process. I don't mean just parent in terms of parent and his or her child. I mean parents being an asset to your school. So how effectively did I engage parents as a collective body to be an asset, to add value to my school? How effectively did I engage the community collectively in being assets or adding value to my school. That matters. So you got to make sure that you're intentional, you're purposeful, you're deliberate about the parents. Again, on the one hand, I'm not going to discount it. The one hand, the role of parent with his or her child. But on the other hand, the role of parents adding value to your school. The role of community members adding value to your school. All that matters. So you want to make sure that you're intentional, you're deliberate, you're purposeful about your outreach to parents in terms of what they can do, because they bring their own gifts, their own talents, their own skills, their own abilities to that school. And then you can choose how I'm going to use them, right? Because of what they bring. They're not bringing the same thing. They're all bringing something different. Sometimes your parent might be a principal in another school. Sometimes your parent might, or an educator in another school. Sometimes your parent could, they could be anything. How you going to use them? And then the community, same thing. Oh, that's the wrong one. The community, same thing. You got diversity in that community, just like you got diversity with your parents. How are you tapping in to the human capital of parents and community that are associated with your school? That matters. Let's go. Number 24. Did my leadership add, this is like an overall 24 and 25, the summation. Did my leadership add value to my school? So now you looking back on your school. The first question was, how would I rate my performance on a scale of 1 to 10? Now 24 brings it full circle. So therefore, did my leadership add value to my school? If the answer is yes, then I would ask you to write, in what way? If the answer is no, then I would ask you, why not? Where did to write, why not, and where did you fall short? Right? Whether you be AP or principal. And then you write those in categories. And again, this may sound like a lot of writing. That's okay. That's leadership. That's what it requires, because you're being meticulous, right? And ensuring that you cover all bases toward becoming the best version of your leadership self. That matters. So did my leadership add value? And then I think the obvious question is my school a better school because I lead it, right? Which is the title of a book I wrote, as you know. Is my school a better school because I lead it? And that question, as I've told you all many times, that is the quintessential question. That is my question. That is the question that I ask myself literally every day at the end of the school day. I never had a day where I didn't stare at the facade of the building and ask myself if my school was a better school because I led it. Now, I had certain criteria with that. I'm not going to get into that now at 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time, and I've been on since 10:55. But then some of the previous videos, so you can check it out. But look here, y'all. This brings me to the end. And if you hung in there with me from the beginning, then I appreciate you. If you checked in a little bit later, then I encourage you. I implore you to go back, start over, watch the monologue, and then check out the entire 25 questions. And again, remember, the whole idea is to self-assess. I appreciate that applause, Yolanda. Y'all know I don't ask y'all to give me no applause at the end, but like the waiter and the waitress might say, but we accept the tips regardless, right? So if you applaud me, I appreciate it. So but again, I take this particular session, I take them all seriously, but I particularly take this session seriously with these 25 questions for you to refer back to, and not just at the end of the year, but throughout the year. Some of y'all might be wondering, what's he mean by applause if you're new to the platform? And I forgot to say welcome to the first timers today, I noticed, but I'll get to that. What I mean by that is, normally when we have our guests, we ask for you to give us your favorite emojis, and that's the applause that we give our guest. your favorite emojis. I see y'all giving me all those emojis. So I appreciate you. You know, I appreciate you immensely. Even if you didn't write the emojis, if you didn't post the emojis, I still appreciate you because you're here, right? But let me close out real quick, y'all. First thing I want to say is I said it earlier out of context, but I'll say it again. I want to start the AP and New Principles Academy meetup, right? And the meetup would be us coming together on Zoom, not every Saturday, you know, not every once a week like we do with this, but it would be like certain times of the year, right? Appreciate that, Donna, all throughout the session, but certainly what you just wrote. It would be like certain times of the year, maybe quarterly, right? Something, and I would send you. I would ask you to send me to just reach out to me on an inbox or something, or my email. I'll tell you later, but I would want you. I would only want people who want to be there. I wouldn't like post a link, right? It would be you reach out to me. I'm down, and I send you the link, and then so that would be a smaller population, I would imagine. And then we come on here, and instead of me talking and you on the other side, you know, just listening and writing comments, it would be us talking on Zoom about whatever, you know, whatever, right? And you know, the reason I hesitate on it, that I haven't done it thus far, is because I'm still trying to put in my mind how this is a safe space. I need it to be a safe space. I don't know how you do that when I'm gonna have people on here that don't know each other, right? So you know, but I'll figure it out. You know, maybe it won't be a thing where we fully divulge what's in our heart, but it will be something where we can engage with one another and hear from one another beyond writing and reading comments on social media platforms, right? So keep that in mind. It's coming. It's going to happen for sure. The AP and New Principles Academy meetups, and we'll do that. So with that said, y'all, let me give you the rundown real quick. Thanks for being here first. Appreciate you being here for week 267. Every first Saturday is Solo Saturday, so that's my day. Yeah, no, Kimberly May, I'm aware that meetup on NAESP, and I want to get on there at some point. And I think I'm doing something with them with I'm doing something with the APs on NAESP, but we'll talk about that later. But anyway, appreciate that, Kimberly May. Join me next week, y'all. I got a big one. Principal Annette Faison, who shows up on the platform as AD Faison. She I announced couple weeks ago, she was the Wilson County Schools, North Carolina Principal of the Year. And she's fam. She's regular fam, like ongoing. So she and I will be on together next Saturday. So that's Principal Annette Faison, Principal of the Year, Wilson County Schools, North Carolina. Just me and her. We going one-on-one. So please be here for that next Saturday. That'll be week 268. Every Saturday morning, 10 o'clock Eastern, Sean Hurt, Facebook Live, followed by Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor at 10:30, followed by the AP and New Principles Academy at 10:55 with me, and next week with Annette Faison. And then Sunday, PDP podcast with Josh Tovar and Dr. Madi Moreno. Join us every Saturday and then Sunday. Once again, let's put it on the screen one more time. If you don't have a copy, get yourself a copy, right? Most important leadership book I've written. But the volume of school districts that are using it, man, it just brings joy to my heart, right? Someone put an order in yesterday. I'm not going to tell you the district because I don't know if they're ready for it to be public, but they ordered 700, right, for their administrators, man. 700 copies, man. You know, it's so get yourself a copy. Get yourself a copy. Go to Amazon. The School Leadership Institute, July 15 and 16 in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's just me and you. July 15, 16, go to principalcafele.com. Scroll down to where it says Instructional Leadership Institute, because that's going to be the focus this year. Click the link, register. You get a copy of the book. Where we at, Ken? It's hard to do. I got to just go like this here, right? You get a copy of the book, What is my value in structuring to the teachers I supervise? If you already got a copy, then give it to somebody that could benefit from it. But I hope to see you in the building July 15 and 16. YouTube, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, y'all, what are you waiting for? We got 23,700 subscribers, man. That ain't nothing to sneeze at, man. I'm pleased with that. But let's bring it to 23,800, right? Go to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you click the subscribe button. And then once you do that, click the notification bell. And that way you'll be notified anytime I go live. And keep in mind, on that channel are my interview videos, right? A lot of people don't know about that. I got those interview videos. A lot of people watch them. They got 171,000 views, right? 171,000 views. So there's a lot of people watching and a lot of people that got jobs because they watched it. It's hundreds of people. I mean, in fact, it's probably thousands. And but yeah, watch. So those are on the same YouTube channel, but also the playlist for becoming a professional speaker is on that channel, and the playlist for becoming a best-selling author are on that channel. So all the AP New Principal Academy sessions are there, but then that extra something is on there as well. So make sure you check all that out. And then lastly, y'all, your diet, eat right, your exercise, get it done. And your virus precautions, take whatever precautions need to be taken, because we want to make sure that you stay healthy while you're engaged in this thing called leadership. If anybody was wondering, guy asked me, yes, I had a different gray shirt on yesterday, the gray one flannel. This is, you know, the mesh joint. And a guy saw me and he said, what's the grays? And I said, it's a Negro Leagues team. And this is number 20 I'm wearing. This is Josh Gibson, the best hitter to ever live. And based on the merger of the Negro League scores and the Major League scores. Now, I got to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. He was a white guy. And he, so when I told him that, because he came to me like very, he was like kind of hyped, like, you know, he's excited about my shirt. Like, what is that? Like, oh, I know it's baseball. So when I explained it, he went from here to here. He like, and I don't even know why I'm telling you this outside of me just seeing the grays on my shirt. But I mean, he was like excited. He came up on me. I'm listening. I had a podcast on, and he came up to me, and I had to pull the earbud out. And he's like, because I'm like, what's he saying? Like, oh, what is that? Like, what team is that? I know it's baseball because I had a baseball jersey on. This is not a baseball jersey. So I'm like, oh, this the Negro Leagues. I said, this Josh Gibson. I said, and I didn't get into all the history and all that, you know, but I was like, this Josh Gibson. And once the Negro Leagues records were combined with the Major League records, Josh Gibson had the highest batting average of all time. My man went like this. He walked away from me and did not say goodbye. That man was mad. I said to myself, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but on the other hand, I think I do know why I'm telling you this. I'm just telling you the real world, y'all. And I don't think I'm telling you anything. I think I'm just sharing with you. I don't think I'm telling you anything. I think I'm sharing with you because you already understand the world, right? So I'm sharing with you, and it was just amazing. I mean, the man was excited. So I mentioned it's a black player. You know, Negro, you know, that's the word back there. So Negro Leagues. So I think he sensed like, oh, I know what that is. But then when I ended it by saying, and that Negro League player that wears number 20, highest batting average in the history of baseball, black and white. Like my brother Vincent Stallings said, he got mad. He got mad. He went. Because in my mind, I thought, y'all know me by now. You know that every time I close out, I got some kind of story. That's just me. So just work with me for a second. So in my mind, I was thinking like, he gonna give me an opportunity to really give him some stuff. That's what I thought. Because I was waiting for the Uber. I don't drive to the airport. So the Uber said I got 5 more minutes. So in my mind, yo, I'm getting ready to teach, man. I'm getting ready to teach. Because that's what I do. The word Baruti means teacher in the language of Tswana. It comes from Botswana. So in my mind, I said, somebody out there said, I didn't know your name was Baruti. I thought your name was Principal. Hey, Stalin, a lot of people think my name is Principal. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, let me spend 5 minutes and teach this dude. Because if you never heard, if you don't know what Grays is, you don't know Negro Leagues. Because Grays is the Grays and Monarchs are the epitome of the Negro Leagues. Those are the two most well-known teams because of Josh Gibson and Satchel Paige on the Monarchs, right? So if you're gonna come up to me and you don't know what it is, but you know I got something fly on because the shirt was fly, right? Then all right. So I'm thinking, all right, I'm gonna teach you something. Like Jay's like Hov say, you gonna learn today, right? So now somebody said, what you know about Hov? Come on, y'all. I keep up, right? So now, oh yeah, it's Josh Gibson playing the Negro Leagues. But they merged the records with the major league. He got the highest batting average in the history of baseball, black and white. My man was like, and then like he was smiling. My man was like this here. Let forget my hand for me. My man like I'm talking to him like. I know my mother bugging right now, right? So then he and then he just left. I stood there flabbergasted. I ain't used that word in a long time. I stood there flabbergasted. I'm like, yo, what happened? See, that's why. Hey, I promise. So I ain't gonna get on here and stay on here. But I gotta say that that's why. That's why they don't want this stuff in them schools, y'all. That's why. That's why. That's why they keep writing them executive orders. You ain't right, Kafele. No, y'all, look, I got the Sharpie. That's why. That's why they keep writing them executive orders. They say we can't we can't. Yolanda said Kim Kafele get them. They said we can't have them teachers talking about no Josh Gibson. Teach them about Babe Ruth. My man was like, all right, y'all, I'm out, man. I'm out. Well, I gotta get one more. It's this Josh Gibson. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great week. You gotta laugh sometime, y'all. You gotta laugh sometime. Gotta laugh, right? Gotta smile sometime. But let me tell somebody out there, Ty Cobb is not the leader anymore. It's Josh Gibson. Don't you ever forget that. Black man, number 20, Homestead Grays, the leading batter of all time. I don't care what league it is, the leader. He was born black and therefore not permitted to play in the major leagues. So he died of a stroke right before Jackie Robinson was recruited to the Brooklyn Dodgers. Josh Gibson would have been in the major leagues too, but he died of a stroke and it never happened. But the major league saw fit to merge those two records and he turned out to have a higher batting average than anybody in the major leagues. Josh Gibson is the #1 hitter of a baseball in the entire major leagues until somebody breaks his record. That's what the executive orders. I'm not smiling now. That's what those particular executive orders are all about. The DEI executive order, do not allow those children, not just black children, any children, to know the history of black people in this country. Because if they know, game over. Not just black people, all people. If they know the true history of this country, game over. So in order to prevent it, executive order. Now everybody's scared. Oh, we can't bring that here. So now we take a large chunk of American history and throw it in the garbage. And now nobody knows. And then black children, when they look in the mirror, they don't recognize who that is looking back historically. So then it's very easy for them to gravitate to any foolishness out there that looks like them, but doesn't have the substance of who they are. No said, y'all. I might get myself into trouble. I see y'all next Saturday. Peace. Now, let me do it right. Have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist back. Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Bam! I promise y'all I won't be on as long next first Saturday. 2.5 hours is a bit much.